Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I hope the fan here in the background isn't too annoying for you. The garage is a little bit warm and humid tonight. We had some thunderstorms come through, and it's just hot, so turned on the fan. Well, let's talk about some things that are going on at the Texas Gun Vault. Got some exciting news about a new firearm that was actually given to me from a local supporter. But I'll talk about that in just a moment because I want to give him a huge shout out because this is a firearm I have wanted to review for a long time, and not only do I get to review it, I get to have it. But today I released another video on my pistol brace stuff about my thoughts on was it really a failure by the ATF. And in the video I mentioned that possibly, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm just trying to take a step back and look at the situation and realize that there are people at high levels that are playing 3D chess, people that are really manipulating the board. And I'm curious if gun owners and all these people, they get very emotional about the pistol stabilizing brace issue. The I won't comply people. Are they being played? Because they think that they've won this victory. You know, and if you ever read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, deception is the name of the game. You never underestimate your enemies. Never. And people seem to be doing that. Because in the video I talk about, maybe they were hoping there would be mass non-compliance. Why? Because now they've outwardly given people an opportunity, those that are in the know, to comply. And they know that those guns now are untouchable. Just like machine guns, they're untouchable. Okay? They're in the NFA, it's been around for 100 years. They're untouchable guns. However, now there is a very large portion of these pistol-braced firearms that are not covered. And if people did not modify them in such a way to make them compliant, they're now illegal. And the government wants them to be illegal. They don't want people to register them. Because if they get registered, they're untouchable. They can't get them. But now, if they catch somebody at the range, or at a traffic stop, or maybe in time, going through 4473s, or in states where people have registries for pistols, they can go through this list in this database and compare notes. And now they can have a justifiable reason for a search warrant, a justifiable reason once you initiate a traffic stop, or a justifiable reason once you go to the range, and either you didn't know the rule had changed or you have been openly defying the rule. Now they have the ability to take your firearm, and as I said in that video, I really don't think there's going to be any arrests. I mean, unless you're confrontational with them. But just like the stories that we're hearing about the forced reset triggers, the FRT triggers, and the wide open triggers, they're just going to go to people's houses and go, we know you got this. Here's the form to fill out. Essentially, it's a form that you allow them to forfeit your property to them, and that's it. Then the ATF says thank you and they go away. Because we all know the ATF and the government wants these guns to be gone. The more guns they can confiscate and get rid of, the better. But if they're properly in the system, on the NFA system, they can't be taken because they've gone through that legal process. And there's precedent. You just can't change your mind and go, well, we're going to do this now. They're not going to do that. That is that tyranny that everyone's talking about and concerned about. And even I think non-gun people would be angry. But if they're at the range and they catch somebody with a braced pistol, whether it's openly defying the rule or not, they're not going to people's houses that have registered them in some type of grand scheme. What it is they're catching somebody that's not following the law and just confiscating contraband. That's not controversial. So now the ATF can justify asking for more money to expand their budget, to ask for more money for more agents, to ask for justification for more search warrants. Because now there's all these illegal guns on the streets, and it's their job to get them. I think gun owners haven't played. The people at the top aren't stupid. And I think gun owners assume they are. But that's because the people at the top are playing the long game. They know Sun Tzu's art of war, and they're letting their opposition think they won. Now, when I released that video today, every time I release those videos, inevitably I get a bump of new subscribers, and I get a few people that leave. And that's okay. I'm not for everyone, and I'm not here to be the most popular or to be the biggest or any of that. I'm here to be real. And if you don't like who I am, what I say, and what I think, that's okay. I'm not for everybody. I don't want to be for everybody. So if those people leave because I'm not towing the line of what they want to hear, or I'm making them think, that's okay, because I'm not here to make friends necessarily. But as long as I plant those seeds of thought and have people think critically and rationally and logically instead of with their emotions, I'm doing my job. They don't have to hang around here, but who knows, maybe that seed that I plant will take hold in the future. So what do you guys think of that video? Got a lot of traction. I knew it would. But now let's talk about my good friend David. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that he lent a gun to the channel, the Beretta 80X Cheetah. And in that video, I talked about how when he lent it to me, he told me it felt cheap. The parts were cheap. Well, he went back to the store where he bought it from. Now, even though I was in possession of it for a review, he went back to the store because it was bugging him about how cheap it felt and how much he paid for it. And so the store took one of them off the shelf and went back into the gunsmith's area, and they disassembled it with him. And when they took it apart and they took off the grip, now I had not taken the gun apart. I had field stripped it to clean, but I had not, detail stripped it beyond that. I didn't take off the grips. I didn't do anything else. But when they took off the grips, parts of the gun, like the trigger bar and the trigger bar spring, literally fell out of the gun. So the gun is designed that the grips actually hold on parts of the gun. So it's kind of made cheaply. And I told you guys about this, that when it comes to those direct blowback guns and guns that are smaller caliber than 9, things that don't need locking mechanisms, they go cheap on everything. What I don't really think that they necessarily have to. I mean, what's wrong with putting a locking system on a 380? For example, the Glock 28, even though there's resources online that say, oh, it's a modified direct blowback, it's not. I own one, right? Lipsy's just had a special run of those. And they are a tilting Browning action. Yeah, the barrel hood looks a little bit different, but it is a locking mechanism. And the rest of the gun, the frame and all that, is just like a regular Glock. So whether or not you like Glocks, you have to admit they are quality and they do work. But Beretta was cheap on this. Now, does that mean the gun's not going to be accurate, not going to work, not going to be reliable? It doesn't mean any of those things. But I think the thing that bothered David the most, and it would bother me, is that you're paying a premium. You know, a lot of 380s on the market today, from, like the cheaper manufacturers, the Bursas, the C-Camps or whatever, the Rugers, all those guns are in the, $250, $300 price point range. And when you pay $250 to $300 for a firearm, you expect a $250 or $300 firearm. It's just that expectation. And you expect that things might be put together, maybe on a budget. As long as it works, you don't care because the gun's $200 or $300. But when you start to get up into 8, 9, or in the case of, I think there's a special edition, like a first run edition that's in a bronze color of this 80X Cheetah that's like $1,300 or $1,400. Well, you begin to expect a $1,300 or $1,400 gun. A lot should go into that, more than it just being what it is. But anyway, they were so surprised by that, they actually pulled the rest of their Berettas off the shelf, and they told David that to bring the gun back in, and they're going to give him more in store credit than what he paid for it. Yeah, they were so ashamed of that. So that is an interesting story, and their gunsmiths, in their opinion, said it didn't meet what they thought was a quality gun of that price point. Now, you can take that information however you want, okay? Now, I did not get to shoot that gun. He actually messaged me. In fact, I was going to go today, as I'm filming this, to go review that gun, to shoot that gun. And before I did, he contacted me about it and said, hey, you haven't shot it yet, have you? I said, no. So he was going to return the gun to them unfired. So hopefully he gets his full amount in that deal. So I still haven't had a chance to review an 80X. I still would like to, and who knows, maybe one day I'll get that opportunity and then do the comparison video with the 84 FS. So that's kind of a little story about that. But while I was, been talking with him, and David's a guy that, let's just say he has an awesome collection. I mean, I have a few friends that have amazing collections. And all my friends that have these collections, what they collect is very different. And it just goes to show how diversified the firearms world is and how awesome the firearms world is. So you guys know often I shoot from Jack's collection. I got Ken. I got, in the past I had Matt. I know I'm gonna forget people here. People are gonna get upset with me. I got, of course, D. Shot a lot of guns of his. And David, and well, you guys know. As I said, if I forgot your name tonight, or I know right now, I'm under the gun thinking, who else have I borrowed guns from lately? So if I forgot somebody, I'm so sorry. Oh, Richard as well. They're all different collections with different interests. So, but anyway, I have been talking to David for a long time. He sometimes contacts me. He has my personal phone number for advice, thoughts. He's just a great guy. I mean, he is a great guy. He's kind of mysterious in a way for like what he does and the people he knows. I mean, he is a well-connected individual. So sometimes I think he's a little bit humble, and he doesn't kind of lead on to what it is he does and who he knows. But I can tell it's impressive, okay? I mean, we all have our mysterious secrets, don't we? But David, I mean, he's just a cool guy. He's been all over the world, knows a lot of people, super connected. And I talk to him all the time, and he asks me questions about various things, and he has just funny anecdotes about stuff, which I won't go into here, about different types of gun people. And sometimes, because he comments on my videos on the main channel, he'll comment on other people. Sometimes he'll message me, he'll text me and go, hey, is this person a friend of yours? And I'm like, well, I know who they are from the comments that they blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm going to mess with them, or I'm going to respond to them. Like, I guess some people like get under his skin about whatever. I'm like, no, go ahead. I'll tell you what I know about that particular commenter. But anyway, there was a gun in his collection. Now, David, when it comes to his collection, he keeps things close to the vest, okay? He loves collecting, and he loves collecting sequential serial numbers of guns. So if he goes into a gun show or a gun shop, and they have a rare and expensive firearm, and he can get multiple of that firearm, if they're sequential serial numbered, he'll buy them. Buy them both, or 2 or 3. And he's very much like me in that once a gun goes into his collection, it rarely leaves that collection. It doesn't matter if he bought an estate sale or he bought a single gun. And he might even own 10 or 11 of the same gun. He won't sell one. And trust me, he's sent me lists of estate sales he's bought. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd love that. You have 5 of them now. Would you sell me that? No, I don't think so. Okay, it's fine. I totally get it as a collector. I totally get it. I totally get it, and I respect it. But he had a gun that I've been wanting to review, and it's this gun right here. This is the HK. It's been out for a while. The Hk MP5-22. It's made by Walther or Umarex in Germany, but when it comes to the 22 pattern rifles, I say rifle, this is actually a pistol. I probably, well, I'll tell you in a second about turning it into a rifle eventually, an SBR. This is a gun I've been wanting to review for a while. I love MP5s, and although mechanically it's very different than an MP5, because it just uses that Walther 22 action, it's in this really nice, well-built MP5 kind of chassis, and the lower comes apart. It's the 2-pin lower. The paddle magazine release works. I mean, it's pretty darn good quality for what it is. I've been wanting to review one of these because I love the MP5. And so I said, hey, I've been wanting to review that. And he actually let me borrow it, brought me the box and everything. So here it is. It is a pistol. And he told me, because I asked him, I said, listen, if I shoot this thing, come on, man, how much do you want for it? I know you have multiples of these, and this is probably not a gun that really tickles his fancy too much, because he's at a point in his collection where probably if a gun doesn't cost $4,000 or $5,000, it's nothing to him. He's like, whatever. And I'm like, come on, this is like a $500 or $600 pistol. What do you want for it? Come on, I'll make you a fair offer. You got a bunch of them. I want one, and I want to review it. He actually gave it to me for free, for helping him out and answering his questions over the years. So isn't that awesome? So I get to review this thing. And I am probably going to SBR it. There are a few places that offer stocks for this. Now this does not have the same dimensions as an MP5, so you just can't throw on an MP5 stock. I actually have an MP5-A2 stock that would work on this. Oh, sorry, that would be if it was a regular MP5. But the fact that the dimensions are different, it won't work on this. So you gotta buy one that's made for this particular dimension receiver. The magazine that comes with it, while it looks like this thing would be 30 rounds to 25 rounds, it's actually limited to 10 rounds. But they do make 25 rounders. So I'm gonna order some of those. Yeah, look at that. I mean, it looks like an awesome MP5 magazine, and it's a big lie. Now, I don't know if I can take this mag apart and remove that limiter in there. I don't know. I'm going to have to go online and see if anybody has done that. I don't see where I can take the mag apart. I guess there's a base plate here at the bottom. I don't know. Maybe there's a way. I see that there's a roll pin in there, and I think that is what stops it. But anyway, I'll have to look into that, but you can buy the other mags relatively affordable that aren't limited. I'm probably going to buy the sling mount that goes right there, so you would normally have that on an MP5. But, yeah, this thing's pretty cool. It has a threaded barrel. Charges just like an MP5, so you have that. It's pretty darn sweet. So thank you, David. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to review this. So in lieu of the Beretta 80X, I'll be reviewing this and getting to do like a little project on it, because I love shooting 22 for plinking purposes, and now it's going to be an awesome platform. So I have my real 9mm MP5s, and now I have one in 22, and this one is made under license by HK. So it's not like it's some cheap company, I mean, it's definitely made cheaper than a real MP5 because it's in 22, but it's made under license. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So thank you so much, David. I want to give you a huge shout out. It means a lot to me. I was excited just to get to review this and then try to spend the next couple of weeks trying to get you to sell it to me, but you gave it to me. So thank you, and I am honored and I am blessed beyond my wildest dreams. Here at the Texas Gun Vault, let me tell you, this has been one amazing ride. All right, I want to talk about one more thing tonight before I turn the video off. My wife and I went to the range tonight. I was going to review, as I said originally, that Beretta 80X, and I had that Browning high power double action kind of compact, and I had a Kimber like match 1911 and 38 Super. And so I went to the range. And I know I've made videos about this type of stuff before, but I ended up having to leave early because people were being unsafe. And this might be the most unsafe I have ever seen the range. Now, I shoot at a place called the Frisco Gun Club. I mean, you guys can go look it up. And my wife and I pay for the top access to this range. So we have 24-hour biometric access. Like literally right now it's 10 o'clock at night. I could go get in my car, load up the guns, and go shoot right now. And there's like a VIP lane and lanes. And the reason we do that is so we can go at any time, even when it's closed on Mondays. And I can go at hours where people aren't shooting, so I can go and film my range reports and things. But often there are people there, especially if I go during the day or lunchtime or dinner time or whatever. And today we went about 6 o'clock, and I was expecting people to be there. And normally it's not really a big deal. There's people that we know because we see them all the time. Well, there was a group of guys there tonight. I would say 8 or 9 or maybe 10, okay? They're all just kind of hanging around. It was obvious that it was one guy who's a gun guy because he brought out an arsenal of guns, okay? And I do mean that in a jovial way. I'm not saying that in a bad way. You know how the media says arsenal or whatever. He had probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 guns, from MPXs to a whole array of pistols, all this stuff laid out on 2 or 3 lanes for his friends to shoot. The problem was, out of those, I'm just going to say 10 people, 9 of them obviously were novice shooters and have never shot a gun before. Because when I was setting up, obviously it was loud and they were just all kind of joking around. They were kind of going in and out of the range, going to the other parts of the facility. And while they were waiting for their firearms to be taken from the front to the VIP lanes, because if you don't know, if you in this during the day, if you go in the front entrance, you can't carry the guns through the restaurant to the VIP lanes because they serve alcohol there. And you have to get a badge, or a thing, like, you know, you have not drank, and as long as you have that, you can shoot, but once they cut that, you can't go on the range. You know, obviously for, you know, guns and alcohol don't mix. But like if you go there with your buddies, you go shoot for an hour or such, and then you get done shooting, you pack your guns up, and they have a service where they take all the guns to the front, and also like when you leave, you can get your guns and go out to the car, but then you can go into the restaurant and get yourself, an old-fashioned, okay, or a gin and tonic, or vodka tonic, or a martini or something. Kind of a nice setup. But they're kind of coming in and out of the restaurant. I guess they were eating or something. And while I was setting up, getting the guns out, putting things out, magazines out, ammo out, the one guy that was there, that I think was the gun guy, the guy that owned all the guns, he had a holstered pistol on the shooting table, or one of the tables in the back where you can take your bags and unload it. So nothing was wrong. There was holstered and everything. Well, he takes the gun out of the holster. Now, he wasn't at a lane. Now, normally when I'm around these other, people, especially these competition shooters that are there, they know the rules of gun safety, and I feel very safe around them. So if they, pull a gun out of the bag and in the back, the gun is immediately opened, locked open, flagged, and the gun is never, it's like immediately put and then taken to the bench. I prefer people to unload the guns at the bench, but they, but normally it's, the gun is flagged, it's open, and it is a very safe process because these people have been around guns, they know guns, and they follow the rules of gun safety. Well, this guy, now he unholsters it, okay, and I'm watching out of the corner of my eye, and I go to the bench, and I'm getting the bags open, and I'm putting, right on the shooting table. And this guy just takes the gun out. He didn't clear it. And you guys know, when you take a gun out and you're going to show it to somebody, you clear the gun. You show it's clear. Even if you just cleared it 2 seconds ago, you constantly clear. You show it's clear. No magazine out. It is open, clear, action open. It is clear. He didn't do that. And he handed it to his friend. And I'm watching, and I'm a little nervous because I'm there with my wife. And then this guy, he literally just starts pointing it. Now, his finger was off to the trigger, but I'm watching. I'm trying to make it look where it's not obvious because I don't want to cause a scene or anything like that. and he sweeps us a number of times. He's just doing this, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy takes the gun back. Not because he was breaking the rules of gun safety. Go, oh my gosh, don't do that. He just took the gun back because the guy was done looking at it. And then he opened it up and showed that it was clear. That is a huge no-no. Now, in the VIP lanes, normally there's not an RSO or a range safety officer, because the people that are paying the money for the VIP lanes, you just don't go and get into the VIP lanes at this place, okay? No, trust me, okay? Now, you can bring guests, and that's what this guy did. And I was concerned about this. Now, I didn't directly talk to them because they didn't even speak English, I don't think. So I went to the front desk, and I said, hey, listen, I went to the manager. I was like, listen, there's this party going on back there, and people aren't following the rules of gun safety. And so an RSO went back there and reminded them of the rules, but it didn't leave me feeling good. They were loud. They were kind of obnoxious. When they shot, it was very obvious that, like, these people had never shot, and the person that owned the guns did not try to teach them and was not paying attention to what the other people were doing. Now, I know that if I take people to the range, their safety and the safety of everybody else is my responsibility. We go over gun safety before we get to the range. We go over how to properly handle the firearm. We go over the rules, not only of gun safety, but of the range. And while people are there, it's an organized process. People are back. This is the way that I run it. And if I have, and I'm not going to bring a lot of people, I might bring max 2 or 3. Who's ever not shooting is back. Whoever is shooting goes up to the table one at a time. I'm with them, and we go over the things that we've talked about. And we go over it slowly, and I ease them into it. I just don't load up a gun and go for it. So, for example, one of the things that my wife saw is one of these guys with it looked like a 300 blackout pistol, shot the roof. Not above, but like down the range. Like he didn't know what the heck was going on. Another guy had a MPX, or when he shot the MPX, it was a pistol, did not have a stabilizing brace, but he shot it with his hand on the magazine like this, and he was like this, shooting it like this. I don't know what to do at that point, because the person that is responsible for them isn't doing his job. He's just letting them have fun. So I got enough footage on one of the guns that I wanted to review, and I told my wife, I said, we're going home. Like, we're leaving right now. This is unsafe. And it's disappointing because, trust me, when it comes to this range, what you pay for, I expect safe conditions. And I have an expectation that the people that I'm shooting with know what they're doing. And trust me, there's a lot of people there. Now, there's some people there that annoy me. I think I've talked about them in the past. But they're good people. And I feel safe around them with firearms, okay? Because they take a lot of care. They're competition shooters, and they take a lot of care. And one of them is a range safety officer himself. So I know that when he's out there, I mean, every gun, if it's on the shooting table, is open and flagged. Nobody handles guns away from the shooting bench. It's a safe environment, and I always feel very safe there, and everybody's looking out for each other. But man, when there were so many people there that didn't know what they were doing, and they had AKs, MPXs, they had everything. They had everything. And these people had never shot this stuff before. It was a scary situation. Now, after the range officer went in there and said, follow the rules of gun safety, I didn't have any other issues necessarily when anybody was being, sweeped with the barrel. But that was it for me. That was it. Because all it takes is for one of those people, they're having a great old time, and probably when you see the review, you're going to hear all this talking in the background because it was just loud. And they're just talking and laughing, and no one's paying attention. I love guns. I like talking about guns, and I like shooting guns. But when you're on the range, you can have fun. But also you have to respect these instruments. These are machines. and you have to be safe with them, and you have to have a certain serious mindset. You know, there's having fun is one thing, but having serious fun is a different thing. And so you can go there and go, wow, this is awesome. I want to work on my market. This is so much fun to shoot. But you're focused. You're like, okay, this is what I have to do. This is my goal. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is the skill I'm trying to work on. You're there for a serious purpose, and you can leave and go, wow, that was a lot of fun. And then there's all this kind of stuff, and no one's paying attention because everyone's cracking jokes. I didn't like it. And so I think I'm going to contact the range because it's just unacceptable. And they need to have, when people complain, they need to have an RSO back there the whole time. So anyway, that's what's going on. I know I talked a lot tonight. 31 minutes! Sorry, guys. Anyway, if you made it to the end, say, thank you, David, because David is awesome. So I know you watched to the end and wasted 30 minutes of your life. So there you go. A story, a new gun, pistol brace video stuff. What do you guys think? So let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.